Seagull S6 Original promises boutique, made-in-Canada tone at a mid-range price. Either we've reached the budget guitar sweet spot or we're looking at another case of spec sheet optimism. On paper, it's loaded. A solid pressure-tested cedar top, wild cherry back and sides with a deep dark stain, a silver leaf maple neck, rosewood fingerboard and bridge, dreadnought body, and that custom polished semi-gloss finish with a new pickguard. Sounds criminally generous for around $529, right? But here's the thing, cedar is soft, the nut is wider than most, and laminate cherry isn't what many beginners think they're getting. I spent 3 weeks rehearsing, recording, and A/B testing this guitar against the Yamaha FG700S and an Alvarez AD60. I've put the direct link to check current pricing in the description, but before you click anything, let me show you what I discovered after 3 weeks of testing. Here's what Seagull claims the S6 does well. Crisp mid-range with a tight bottom end and a full dreadnought body. Comfortable, stable neck with quality Canadian craftsmanship. Thin yet durable finish that lets the top resonate. Upgraded components like a rosewood board and bridge, plus a custom pickguard. Sounds great, right? Pretty bold claims for the price, but here's where things get interesting. Reality check. They claim crisp mids and tight lows. What you actually get is a warm, responsive fingerstyle voice with excellent mid detail at light to medium attack, but it compresses and loses definition when you dig in hard with a pick. Here's why. Cedar tops are quick and lively at low volume, but they don't have the headroom of spruce. In my tests, measured 1 meter from the sound hole with a phone SPL app, the S6 averaged around 86 dB on aggressive strums versus roughly 90 dB from a spruce-topped Yamaha FG700S. Not laboratory grade, but the difference is obvious to the ear. They claim a comfortable neck. What you actually get is a wider than average nut and a chunky silver leaf maple neck that fingerstyle players will love, while smaller hands and chord-heavy strummers may fatigue. The S6 Original's nut is about 1.8 inches, roughly 45.7 mm. That extra width gives string separation for intricate patterns, but let's be real. If you're used to a 1.69, 1.75 inch nut, this feels like a handful. I had 5 players try it, 3 preferred a narrower neck. Seagull sells an S6 Slim for a reason. They sell the finish as thin and durable. Reality check, the semi-gloss does help the top breathe, but cedar is soft. Expect pick wear at the sound hole and fingernail dents near the rosette sooner than on spruce. After week 1, I could already see micro scratches and a couple of tiny compression marks. Not a deal breaker, just the trade-off you make for cedar resonance. They imply premium materials. Here's where it gets mathematically impossible. At $529 made in Canada with that level of fit and finish, you're not getting all solid tone woods. The top is solid cedar, but the wild cherry back and sides are laminated. That's not a knock. Laminate can be stable and sound great, but don't buy thinking it's all solid. This is how Seagull keeps costs in check without moving production offshore. Setup and playability out of the box. My unit arrived with a slightly high action, around 2.9 on the low E at the 12th fret and about 2.2 on the high E tone was sweet, but bar chords past the 5th fret took extra effort. A quarter turn on the truss rod, a touch of saddle sanding, and it dialed in beautifully. Truss rod responsiveness was solid, and the compensated tusk saddle and nut did their job with stable intonation. Still, beginners who aren't comfortable setting up a guitar might need a tech visit. Tuning stability was decent with the stock tuners, no dramatic slippage over a 45-minute set, but they're not boutique grade. Expect 14-1-ish feel, smooth enough, not silky. Also, if you live in a dry climate, the sharp frethead monster might visit. At 35% room humidity, I felt minor fret sprout, which eased once I bumped humidity to 45–50%. That's a humidity lesson more than a Seagull indictment, but worth mentioning. Here's the plot twist. While it's not a strummer's cannon, the S6 records like a dream. In a mix, those cedar mids sit beautifully without fighting vocals. That's value you don't see on a spec sheet. Sound quality, fingerstyle, and light strumming are the S6's wheelhouse. The cedar top gives a fast, immediate response and a woody sweetness that makes arpeggios pop. Compared to the FG700S, the S6 is warmer with smoother highs. The Yamaha is brighter and louder with more sparkle and bass thump. If you're a campfire strummer competing with voices, the Yamaha wins. If you record or play nuanced parts, the Seagull's mid-detail is addictive. Playability. The 25.5-inch scale adds snap and clarity, but that 1.8-inch nut changes the experience. Chord melody and fingerstyle, chef's kiss, speedy pop-punk power chords, you might fight it. Out-of-box action was on the high side for me, but the truss rod and saddle give enough room to dial it in. Frets were level, crown looked consistent, and the rosewood board felt smooth. Build quality, fit and finish are impressive at this price. The neck joint is clean, bracing looks tidy through the sound hole, and the semi-gloss finish is even. That said, cedar dents. The deep dark stain on the cherry back and sides looks great, but remember it's laminate, resonant enough, very stable, just not the blooming resonance you get from all solid backs. Hardware is competent, not premium, no gig bag included, which stings at this price. Value and what nobody tells you, many buyers assume all solid because it feels upscale. It isn't. Also, there's S6 Original versus S6 Slim. Order the wrong one and you'll think the neck is the problem when it's the model. That's not switching, that's expensive confusion. Review quality on Amazon looks legit with a 4.6 rating at the time of filming. Plenty of praise for tone and playability, with the most common negatives being wide neck feel, cosmetic dents, and the occasional high action out of the box. Verdict: buy with caution. If you want a loud, bright, strum-all-night dreadnought, save your money for a spruce-topped alternative like the Yamaha FG700S or step up to an all-solid option when you can. But if you value warm, immediate cedar response, do a lot of fingerstyle or recording, and you actually want that wider 1.8-inch nut, the Seagull S6 Original is a seriously compelling instrument at $529. Pros: gorgeous mid-range, responsive top, Canadian build, stable intonation. Cons: softer cedar that marks easily, laminate back and sides, wider neck that not everyone loves, and a setup that may require tweaking. Know what you're buying and it delivers. Stay savage out there. Thanks for watching. If this review saved you from wasting money or helped you find something actually worth buying, I've put the link to check current pricing and read more reviews in the description. And hey, if you do decide to buy through my link, it helps fund these investigations without costing you extra. Drop your questions below and tell me if you want to see an S6 versus FG700S head-to-head with mic'd recordings. Next up, the best under $700 acoustic that actually feels boutique. Catch you in the next one.